are going to be reading some Frogshire fairy tales today. I've chosen The Frog Prince Continued. The story is written by John Seitzke. The paintings are by Steve Johnson, and the publisher is Viking Publishers. The princess kissed the frog. He turned into a prince, and they lived happily ever after. Well, let's just say they sort of lived happily for a long time. Okay, so they weren't so happy. In fact, they were miserable. "Stop sticking your tongue out like that," nagged the princess. "How come you never want to go down to the pond anymore?" whined the prince. The prince and the princess were so unhappy, they did not know what to do. "I'd prefer it if you not hop around on the furniture," said the princess. "And it might be nice if you got out of the castle once in a while to slay a dragon or a giant or whatever." The prince didn't feel like going out and slaying anything. He just felt like running away. But then he reread his book, and it said right there at the end of his story, they lived happily ever after, the end. So he stayed in the castle and drove the princess crazy. Then one day, the princess threw a perfectly awful fit. "First, you keep me awake all night with your horrible croaking snore. Now I find a lily pad in your pocket. I can't believe I actually kissed your slimy frog lips. Sometimes I think we would both be better off if you were still a frog." And that's when the idea hit him. The prince thought, still a frog? Yes, that's it. And he ran off into the forest looking for a witch who could turn him back into a frog. The prince hadn't gone far when he ran into the person he was looking for. Miss Witch, excuse me, Miss Witch, I'm wondering, could you help me?" "Say, you're not looking for a princess to kiss, are ya?" asked the witch. "Oh no, I've already been kissed. I'm the frog prince. Actually, I'm kind of hoping you could turn me back into a frog." "Are you sure you're not looking for a beautiful sleeping princess to kiss and wake up?" No, I'm the frog prince." "Well, that's funny. You don't look like a frog." "Well, no matter. If you're a prince, you're a prince, and I'll have to cast a nasty spell on you. I can't have any princes waking up Sleeping Beauty before the 100 years is up." The prince didn't stick around to see which nasty spell the witch had in mind. He ran deeper into the forest until he came to a tiny cottage where he saw another lady who might help him. Miss Witch, excuse me, Miss Witch? I'm wondering, could you help me? I'm a prince and..."
What did you say, prince?"
croaked the witch. "No, I'm not the frog. I'm not the prince. I'm looking for... No, I'm not Sleeping Beauty. But yes, I'm the frog prince. And I'm looking for a member of your profession who can turn me back into a frog so I can live happily ever after."
"Frog prince, you say? Well, that's funny. I thought frogs were little green guys with webbed feet. Well, no matter. If you're a prince, you're a prince. And I can't have any princes rescuing Snow White. Here, eat the rest of this apple."
The prince, who knew his fairy tales and knew a poisoned apple when he saw one, didn't even stay to say thank you. Nope, he turned and ran deeper into the forest. Soon, he came to a strange-looking house with the witch outside. Miss Witch, excuse me, Miss Witch? I'm wondering if you could help me. I'm the frog."
"If you're a frog, I'm the king of France,"
said the witch. "No, I'm not a frog, I'm the frog prince. But I need a witch to turn me back into a frog so I can live happily ever after. Can you do it?" said the prince in one long breath. The witch eyed the prince and licked her rather plump lips.
"Why, of course, dearie. Come right in. Maybe I can fit you in for lunch."
The prince stopped on the slightly gummy steps. Something about this house seemed very familiar. He broke off a corner of the windowsill and tasted it. Gingerbread. "I hope you don't mind my asking, Miss Witch, but do you happen to know any children by the name of Hansel and Gretel?"
"Why, yes, Prince darling, I do. I'm expecting them for dinner."
The prince, who, as we said before, knew his fairy tales, ran as fast as he could deeper into the forest. Soon, he was completely lost. He saw someone standing next to a tree, and the prince walked up to her, hoping she wasn't a witch, for he quite had his fill of witches. "Madam, I am the frog prince. Can you help me?"
"Gosh, do you need it?" said the fairy godmother. "You're the worst-looking frog I've ever seen."
I'm not a frog, I'm the frog prince, said the prince, getting a little annoyed. And I need someone to turn me back into a frog so I can live happily ever after. Well, I'm on my way to see a girl in the village about going to a ball, but I suppose I could give it a try. I've never done frogs before, you know. And with that, the fairy godmother waved her magic wand and turned the prince into a beautiful carriage. The prince could not believe his rotten luck. The sun went down, the forest got spookier, and the prince became more and more frightened. Oh, what an idiot I've been. I could be sitting at home with the princess, living happily ever after, but instead I'm stuck here in the middle of this stupid forest, turned into a stupid carriage. Now I'll probably just rot and fall apart and live unhappily ever after. The prince thought about these terrible, frightening kinds of thoughts, and a few worse, too awful to tell, until far away in the village, the clock struck midnight. The carriage instantly turned back into the former prince's self, and he ran by the light of the moon until he was safe in his own castle. Where have you been? I've been worried sick. You're 7 hours late. Your dinner is cold, and your clothes are a mess. The prince looked at the princess, who had believed him when no one else in the world had. The princess who had actually kissed his slimy frog lips. The princess who loved him. The prince kissed the princess. They both turned into frogs and hopped off and lived happily ever after. The end. Hello everyone, I'm Miss Lisa from the Wayne County Public Library, and today I have with me Miss Leanne.
Hi.
We work together, and we had some fun coming up with some STEM ideas for you guys to do at home for summer reading program this year. So we're going to start with Rapunzel's Escape. So y'all are familiar with the story of Rapunzel, let down your golden hair, and she climbs out. Nobody wants to pull their hair climbing down on it. So one of the crafts that you're going to be doing is making Rapunzel's tower. But once you get it made, we're going to help Rapunzel escape from her tower. So this is really just a problem in, it's problem solving is what it is. So we are going to let you use your imagination, do some out-of-the-box thinking into how you can help Rapunzel escape from her tower. So what Miss Leanne has built here, we're not quite sure it's going to work. She's going to have to take a leap to start with, but we have a slide she can slide down. It kind of extended. That would hurt. So we want you to be a little more safe with Rapunzel. But you can use all kinds of things. We put Legos and toilet paper, but you can also have, we've seen toothpick towers built, popsicle stick towers built up to do it. So just have fun with it and think outside the box and think how you can get Rapunzel down out of that tower a little more safely than her landing when she just did. Okay, have fun with that, and we will see you next week. And we have some more fun with you today with another STEM craft you can do at home. When you get your packet for summer reading program, you're going to have something in there called a fairy flower, and we're going to have fairy flower power. And what Miss Leanne's going to do is she is going to show you how this flower that you see all folded up is going to bloom when it gets put in the water. Now this process is actually called absorption and osmosis. So y'all know that paper is made from wood that's been ground into a pulp and is dried. Well, paper is made from a wood fiber, and when it's placed in water, it absorbs the water. So Miss Leanne, if you want to go ahead and start pouring it. Okay, so as it absorbs, every fiber in the paper is wet. And the absorption leads to osmosis. And just like a wilted plant, when it perks up after it's watered, the fibers in our paper, as you can see, are slowly starting to absorb the water, and the osmosis is causing the flower petals to slowly open up. So this is almost simulating the bloom of a flower. And as you can see, it's gradually, and eventually it will open all the way up. So when you do get your packet, you'll have 4 of these little flowers that you can cut out and make your own flower that blooms in water, okay? So we hope you have fun with that and you've learned a little something about absorption and osmosis. Remember, the paper is absorbing the water, And as it opens, that's the osmosis, okay? So we'll see you next week with some more fun STEM crafts you can do. Thank you.